We support competitive free market healthcare system. All Americans have access to healthcare. The debate is about who should pay for it. Free and low-cost government-run programs, socialized medicine, result in higher costs and everybody receiving the same poor-quality healthcare. Healthcare should remain privatized. The problem of uninsured individuals should be addressed and solved within the free market healthcare system. The government should not control healthcare.
The Social Security system is in serious financial trouble. Serious changes need to be made in its current state. The current Social Security system is not financially sustainable. It is going to collapse if changes are not made. It should be made more efficient through privatization and allowing individuals to manage their own savings. By managing and privatizing Social Security, individuals have the control over their retirement decisions. Peter Ferrara, former director of the International Center for Law and Economics, states that private accounts would allow workers to personalize ownership and control over their retirement funds and broader freedom of choice. And if the accounts were optional, they would also be free to choose whether to exercise the personal account option or stay entirely in the old Social Security framework. Private accounts benefit the poor and minorities. In the current system, groups of people with shorter life expectancies effectively have their income transferred to people with longer life expectancies because the latter can collect their benefits for longer. As stated by President George W. Bush, personal accounts which could be passed along to the next generation would go a long way toward reducing that disparity. Privatization reduces government workforce, red tape, and wasteful spending. Minimizing the requirement of the federal government to provide retirement benefits reduces the bloated bureaucracy of the U.S. government. The Social Security Administration currently employs almost 60,000 people at more than 1,400 offices around the country. With an operating budget of $12.5 billion for financial year 2016, in 2014, about 26% of all federal spending, or $906 billion, went towards Social Security. If retirement benefits were managed by private companies, government bureaucracy would be greatly reduced.
Homeland Security. Choosing passengers at random in airport security is not effective. Those who do not meet the criteria for suspicion should not be subjected to intense screening. The terrorists currently posing a threat to the U.S. are primarily Islamic Muslim men between the ages of 18 and 38. Our resources should focus on this group. Northwestern University aviation expert A. Gelman stated, "If people are offended, that's unfortunate, but I don't think that we can afford to take the risk that terrorism brings to us. They've wasted masses of resources on far too many people doing things that don't have a big payoff in terms of security. We do not agree that not all terrorist attacks are brought on by Islamic extremists or Muslims, but we must take into consideration that is our primary threat."
Oil, gas, and coal are all good sources of energy that can be found in the United States. The United States ranked number 1 to have coal reserves. It also ranked 6th in the top 10 countries to have natural gas reserves. The United States also happens to be one of the world's top consumers of oil. We're relying on other countries for oil, like way too much. It's ridiculous. Alternative sources of energy don't produce nearly as much energy as our fossil fuels. While we agree alternative sources of energy would reduce pollution and help, we have too many people in the United States with too many families to produce that much energy from alternative sources that don't produce enough electricity. Yes!
Healthcare in the United States is in severe disrepair. The U.S. is ranked 37th in the world in quality of healthcare. Citizens spend more than twice the average amount of other developed nations. 21% of hospitals in the United States are for-profit organizations. And in 2011, we spent more on healthcare per capita, $8,608, and as a percent of our GDP, 17.2%, than any other nation in the world.
The Social Security system should be protected at all costs. Reduction in future benefits is not a reasonable option. Social Security provides a safety net for the nation's poor and needy. Changing the system could cause a reduction in benefits, and many people would suffer as a result. The elderly and disabled who can no longer work may not have enough savings to last them for their lifetime. Social Security ensures that they do not fall into poverty. Social Security benefits are largely biased towards workers at the lowest end of the income bracket in order to prevent such individuals and families from retirement into poverty. The average benefit is $1,341 a month. This is a good safety net for the disabled and should be protected. Okay, Homeland Security. It isn't true that almost all Muslims are out to blow up airplanes. In fact, almost none of them are. Post 9/11, we've had 2 Muslim terrorists on U.S. airplanes. If you assume 0.8%, the percentage of Muslim Americans, of the 63 million annual airplane flyers are Muslim, and triple it to account for others who look Arab, then the chances any profiled flyer will be a Muslim terrorist is 1 in 80 million. Add 19 9/11 terrorists, arguably a singular event. That number drops to 1 in 8 million. Either way, because the number of actual terrorists is so low, almost everyone selected by the profile will be innocent. So in conclusion, specifically profiling for race or religion is not effective.
The United States is too dependent on fossil fuels for its energy. Carbon levels in the atmosphere are way above the safe level for ecosystems to maintain their natural order. Renewable energy is cheaper every single day and is a more viable option than fossil fuels will be.